Part of my role as a volunteer with the American Red Cross is a leadership role to work with emergency management and the Emergency Operations Center. When I reflect back to the 45 major disasters I've been around the world, this was probably the second largest flood event that really has significantly hit this country. I became involved with the county on the 7th of June and reached out to serve the city on the 9th of June because we knew the crisis was looming. We knew we were going to have a flood. Oh, I remember calling Charles up. It was about 6 o'clock in the evening. And I said, Charles, I've been on a lot of disasters in my lifetime. And I said, I'm so tired of waiting until after a disaster occurs before we go out and help people and start saving lives and property. 7:30 the next morning, we met over at L's Community. We had almost 100 some clergy leadership there that said, we can do this.
Because of the fact that Serve the City represents a coalition of 37 churches, Serve the City was able to ramp up a volunteer base from just a few dozen people to, by the end of the week, it mushroomed to about 3,000 as our connections with local media and as our role as really a volunteer coordinator for the community emerged.
Serve the City really played a tremendous role because they established the phone lines, they had the people answering the phones, and they were channeling the information to all the hungry people that wanted to help.
We spent every effort that we could in helping the neighbors retrieve and evacuate whatever things that they had, their precious things.
The police department in the briefing, looking at the maps, made it clear very dramatically that there was no possible way they could get to all of the houses in time to communicate. I spoke up in the briefing and said, well, we can get to the houses simply because we had such great success in time check. I believe within 2.5 hours, we had enough volunteers deployed that evening got the fire department paper, every door knocked on, every person talked to see that the evacuation happened.
It now had moved beyond individual homes and what we could do for individual residents to having to supply volunteers to save core infrastructure in our community, to save hospitals, to save water pumps.
With the loss of the homes, with the loss of the infrastructure, with the loss of all the government buildings, we had every decision-making person out of their offices and loss of computers.
At the Emergency Operations Center, you had the police, the fire, the National Guard, the Red Cross. You had all of the vital, the school system, the hospitals. They were all represented, all these vital ingredients to working together in the same room. And we had 3 from Serve the City in that room.
We came within hours of having no water, no electricity, no sewer. That doesn't get much more catastrophic than that in a major disaster. And without the help of Serve the City, there had been no way the point of distribution's been able to be established. There had been no way to calm the fears of the public at large because the city had no resources, the county had no resources with manpower. They were already tied up fighting the water. It was indeed a day of valor when Serve the City stepped forth and said, whatever you throw at us, we'll do it.
When we look at the police and the fire and the National Guard and the people who worked in hospitals, when we look at so many entities around this area, we were all out there serving the city. And those who were volunteers with Serve the City were doing our part, and we did it gladly.
We know from experience and other disasters that people will not voluntarily leave their homes. Oftentimes they need to be asked one-on-one, they need to be coaxed out. I contend that one of the biggest reasons lives were not lost was because of what the partnership between Serve the City and Lynn County and Cedar Rapids of going door to door, telling people your lives are at risk, your property is important, but your life is more important. Let us help you leave your home and take you to safety.